10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Have no fear, Madam Elite is here. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. It's the middle of the week, but it's also AEW Dynamite. This is Courtney Rice. I go through a lot of nicknames. I am WWT's PR princess. They called me Stone Cold Courtney, Madam Elite, all things you need to know about Elite. I mean, so many names that you could think of. But we are here on Wednesday, and I'm excited to be with all of you as we are gearing up for the road to Grandstrom, Australia. But first, they are in good old Tennessee, where we got some incredible matches to know. Also, we got some really good matches on the card too. Of course, Ospreay and Kenny Omega are going to face off for the first time. We have the AEW Tag Team Champions happening. Oh, and it's starting right now. And I actually love this arena because it looks really cool, especially being inside in a smaller venue. And we're going to hear from Tony Schiavone. So it looks like we are going to kick off with the face-off between Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. So this is going to be fun. And as usual, Will Ospreay has a very good crowd. Very good crowd. So everybody loves Will Ospreay. And oh my God, he changed. He changed his hair. Oh Lord. I feel like with the hair change, it reminds me of like him being in a boy band from the 90s. And I'm a lover of all boy bands. So that would make me think of like his hair. But anyways, yes, Boza. Happy Wednesday. Interesting at ACW. Yes, there is a storm happening. So they had to make a lot of changes with the storm happening and everything else. It's just been cold. It's been snowy. So that's why many of the stars were unable to catch some of their flights. But as I mentioned, outside of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega going to face-to-face, we have the AEW Tag Team Champions on the line with Private Party taking on the Hurt Syndicate. We have ladies action, Jamie Hager versus Julia Hart, round 2. We get to see the return of Samoa Joe taking on Nick Wayne from the Patriarchy. And also we get to see the Rated R superstar Cope take on Pac. And also another match, and this is kind of a grudge match, Swerve Strickland taking on AR Fox. So I'm really excited on where this card is going to go. This is going to be a fun night, and I'm very excited to spend it with all of you. Give me 1 second because I just have to create a banner for Swerve Strickland versus AR Fox. Alrighty, so we are ready to rock and roll. We see Kenny Omega coming in, and we're going to turn it over to Tony Schiavone and see what they have to say. And look who comes out. That creep Don Callis. Oh boy, what does he have to say? Man, you better run. He better run. Well, here comes the AEW International Champion, Konosuke Takeshita. And Kyle Fletcher are just beating up on Kenny Omega, and Will Ospreay is just standing in the ring. You know, I know Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega have a lot of egos, but they have to put that ego aside. And I understand what Kenny said when they met at Forbidden Door, where Will Ospreay did stab him in the back with the screwdriver. But this is kind of a little bit beyond. But we still Will Ospreay taking out Kyle Fletcher. So I do have a feeling it's going to be. I could see this tag match between these teams at Grand Slam Australia. Well, Boza, to be fair, yes, it is a tag team, but I don't think it's going to be a dumpster fire. I mean, there is a lot of things that are happening, but we have seen this many times with cards where when you look at it on paper, it's like the worst thing you've ever seen. But then when you watch it and some of the matches are really good, that is when it starts to come in place. So I wouldn't say it's a dumpster fire yet, because of course we have Mariah May and Toni Storm, my client, Toni Storm, for the AEW Women's Championship. I would love to see Kyle Fletcher compete in Grand Slam Australia. I would love to see Harley Cameron compete and get her first win in her home country. So there's a lot of things. And it looks like it's just still chaos and mayhem between these four teams. Oh my God. And that creep dog Callis Julie wants to get a piece. Ugh. So it looks like Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher are pretty much trying to clean house a bit. But I do see definitely a future tag team match with each other, because Grand Slam is almost around the corner. So they need to start getting some matches in place ASAP. And we still see a lot of mayhem. And look, there's Lance Archer. I'm pretty sure Brian Cage is close by. It is interesting how they fight outside the ring, because the arena is so small, but it actually makes sense. And they just have to be careful not to do it fall in front of the fans. So Well, it looks like Lance Archer's really getting the best of Will Ospreay. They're like going backstage. I don't know what's happened with Kenny. My goodness. They're just taking out the both of them. Lance Archer is just pretty much destroying Will Ospreay. And no surprise, Brian Cage and Kenny is starting to show some offense. They're just destroying the merchandise. Oh my god. Destroying the merchandise. Kenny's not laid out. He still has to deal with Brian Cage, Kyle Fletcher, and Konosuke Takeshita. Oh my goodness. Lance Archer is really... And then Kenny's trying to stop it, but it looks like... Yep. Double choke slam. Oh, no, not double choke slam. And look at this. Well, at least they're on the same page on this. And are they gonna do it? Yep. Suplex Lance Archer onto the merchandise stands. Wow, and look out for Brian Cage with that trash can. See, when they work together, this is when they're successful. This is when they're very successful. When they work together, put aside their egos and differences, and fight the common enemy. But, oh God, what is that creep doing right now, Don Callis? Well, it looks like Kyle Fletcher and Brian Cage are destroying Will Ospreay. Konosuke Takeshita is trying to take out Kenny. Oof. My goodness. Takeshita wants to end this right here. Somebody waving to Kyle Fletcher. Security officials trying to stop this, but looks like Takeshita, members of Don Callis family, are taking out every single person that's trying to stop it. Will Ospreay's trying to do 2-on-1. Oh! Will Ospreay's like Spider-Man! And what's he... Oh, dear God. What's he doing? What's him and Kenny doing? Is he... Oh! Moonsault off the top rail! Oh, my God. And him and Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega are still standing after that crazy moonsault. Wow. And the crowd is going nuts. And what are they doing now? That creep, get him out of here. I wish somebody would take out that creep. See, as I mentioned earlier, when they're a tag team and they put their differences aside, Well, it looks like we got another match for Grand Slam on the card. And it's funny, Bosa and I were talking about this too earlier. So another Kenny, now you can hit my music because I'm now scared of heights. Kenny Omega. Well, if you did not hear, we have another match added to Grand Slam. It is Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay taking on the hometown boy Kyle Fletcher and the AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita. Oh boy, that's gonna cause a lot of mayhem. Hi, Daniel Lucci. Thank you for joining on this watch along for AEW Dynamite. I also just want to let you know, because I know last night you saw Councilman's watch along for NXT. Not where we are going to do not just a watch along, but a post show on the same link moving forward. So do not go anywhere. We're not going to shift to different links. It's all going to be on the same link. So just to let you know, so there's no chaos in there. So very excited on that. Also, Daniel, I'm curious. Are you asking on the matches I'm looking forward to tonight? Because if that is, there's a few matches. I mean, of course, I'm a person that loves tag team wrestling. I'm very intrigued on the tag team championships between Private Party and the Hart Syndicate. Of course, I'm always going to support the ladies, Julia Hart versus Jamie Hager. And also looking at this, they're showing the promo for Pac and Cope. So that match is definitely going to be fire. Yeah, they're pretty much showing this promo to really hype up Cope versus Pac. Because as you noticed the last couple of weeks, Pac did attack Copeland and Copeland Cope is trying to get even with the Death Riders. And we're gonna hear from our AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Jon Moxley. So we got to hear from our AEW World Heavyweight Champion and saying there's a lot of work to do. Interesting. And he has a lot of hidden riddles in this. But we switched from the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and we're now switching to the Tag Team Champions. So, they're showing the highlights from last week during the trios match. I know I didn't have the chance to talk about this on WWT Live, but a lot of people want the Hurt Syndicate to win the Tag Team Champions, but I just have a slight feeling Private Party is going to retain. I don't want Private Party to be transitional champions because I really want them to get a reign that's memorable, and I feel like there is a lot of growth in this. Also, there's a lot of layers within the Hurt Syndicate because, of course, Swerve still has problems with them. It's a possibility Ricochet may be joining. Unfortunately, MVP really went under the rug and just screwed over my clients, the Acclaimed. So, I do have a feeling Private Party is going to retain, and it's like gut feeling, but this is going to be another test for Private Party. And we're just waiting for them to come out. And here they come! Quen and Zay. And also, it actually robbed me of a potential rivalry between Private Party and the Acclaimed. Because as I mentioned, they never faced off against each other, never had any backstage encounters, never had a one-on-one encounter in the ring. So that kind of took away my potential rivalry with Private Party because that's really sad. But I'm okay with that because I know everybody's been asking me on like my thoughts on what happened on Collision this past weekend, but I will share it throughout the show. But right now, we're getting ready for tag team action. Private Party's doing the signature shots, and look, they got some of the fans to do it. Oh, well, they have represented very well, but I do have a feeling. I don't know why. And then MVP is, of course, talking a lot of trash, but we take it away with Justin Roberts announcing in the ring. I'm very surprised MVP didn't give Private Party a card. I'm very, very surprised. I thought at least he would give MVP a card, but there's Private Party. I just hope it's not a squash match. That's all I'm hoping for. I hope it's not a squash match. It's competitive, and here we go. AEW Tag Team Champions on the line. Private Party taking on the Hurt Syndicate. Oh, thank you, Boza. Breaking news tonight. So, Tony Khan tweeted an hour ago, Samoa Joe versus Nick Wayne is canceled tonight due to the travel issues. We will get it at some point. Hangman will be in action in its place. And as I understand, there's been a lot of travel issues with the snow and the cold and the winter. So I will say if it doesn't happen tonight, I have a feeling it may happen at Grand Slam, Samoa Joe versus Nick Wayne. But we shall see. But anyways, switching back gears, we are tag team action. The Hurt Syndicate taking on Private Party. And feel free to put in the chats on who you have winning. I have a slight gut feeling Private Party is going to somehow retain. I just hope this is not a squash match. But here we go. Right. Tag is made to Shelton Benjamin. Trying to make move on Zay. Double team. Signature double team by Zay and Quinn. There we go. This is what Private Party needs to do. Show a lot of offense. Because these guys are no slouches. Tag is made to Quinn. I love that they're into some of the Hardy Boys style. Because that's who the tag team they idolized when they were kids. Matt and Jeff Hardy. And you see why they are still one of the most influential tag teams in the wrestling world. And I said it. But here we go. Zay taking out Bobby Lashley outside the ring. This is what they need to do. They need to rely on their high offense. Here we go. Ooh, caught Private Party. Double belly to belly suplexes. Ooh. Of course, MVP's doing commentary. Oh my God. Private Party better think of something. All right, so even though it's in picture, the match is still going on, and it looks like Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are just hunching over Quinn. Referees are checking on Zay because he got brutally hit with that announce table. Dr. Sampson's out there making sure it's not too much of an injury. Hopefully it's not too serious. But it looks like Zay, because he took that nasty hit. Well, it's a good thing I don't have to listen to MVP doing commentary. That's a one positive thing. But Shelton Benjamin is just really making a mark on Quinn because his tag team partner is laid out at the moment. Goodness. All right, so we're back live. AEW Tag Team Champions is on the line. Private Party taking on the Hurt Syndicate, and oh my God, Zay is still laid out on the announce table. Bobby Lashley is just destroying Private Party. Tag is made to Shelton Benjamin. I just hope it's not a squash match. I'm telling you, do it again. The fans. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ooh. They're throwing Quinn like a rag doll. Oh, here comes Zay. Here comes Zay. He's back. The one thing you can't count out with Private Party is their resilience. And they never give up and they never quit. That's the one thing I will never count them on. Bobby Lashley is putting a beating on Quen. Putting a beating on Quen. Tag is made to Shelton Benjamin. Zay trying to get the crowd behind Private Party. Oh, insecurity. Let's see if Quen makes a tag here to his partner. Tag is made to Zay. Zay's trying to give it everything he has. Zay feels it. He feels it. He feels it. Ooh. Mmm. 450 splash. Saved by Bobby Lashley. You have to make sure you don't get yourself disqualified. But the fans are chanting for Bobby Lashley, which I'm happy because it's nice to see Bobby Lashley get one reception, even though the Hurt Syndicate is supposed to be a heel. But I don't know. Oof. Super kick. Double super kick. Oof. Nasty, nasty spear. Kick out. Quen made the save. German suplex. It's like German suplex all around. I'm going to tell you something. If Bobby Lashley puts that submission lock on one of them, it's pretty much over. But Private Party is giving it everything they got. But at this point, it's like, that was brutal. This has to be it. Yep. Folks, your winner and new tag team champions, the Hurt Syndicate. Well, Hello, James Haynes II. Thank you for joining on this watch along tonight. Well, congratulations. They are your new AEW Tag Team Champions. It's really interesting. The first tag team match that they had was against my clients, The Acclaimed, in a joke. Yes, it was a joke. It felt like it was a squash match, and they were disjointed. And now they beat Private Party. Well, this is going to be really interesting in the tag team division. This is going to be interesting because question, who's at a ringside? But yeah. But of course, we see AEW Women's Champion Mariah May doing her promo as she's getting ready for Grand Slam Australia. Hi, D. Hey, sorry, friend. Sorry, I can't join. All good. All girl. Just let you know, every Wednesday I do my watch along for AEW Dynamite. So feel free, and also feel free to put in if you don't want to join. Feel free to pop in the chat. This is why I think it's a joke they are champions. That was their first legit win, and they're already... I know, that's what I'm saying, because this is really weird. Because the question is, who's going to be their next contender? Because you have to think about it. FTR, they're with their friend Cole, taking on the Death Riders. My clients, the Acclaimed, have split. Of course, obviously. There's Private Party, the Outrunners. Oh, and speaking of which, there is my client, Toni Storm. So let's see what she has to say. Oh, I love my client, Toni Storm. And she got to see her fellow Aussie, Harley Cameron. Hey, I did say Harley Cameron may get her first match, but we shall see. And also this Saturday on Collision is Homecoming. And Mariah May and Toni Storm are going to go face to face. That should be really interesting. So if you are joining, this is WWT's PR Princess, and everything you need to know about all things elite. Courtney Rice is here to share with all of you for this watch along, coming to you from Knoxville, Tennessee. We kicked off the show with Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega face to face for the first time in a while. They took out the Don Callis family, and we have another match added to Grand Slam Australia. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay taking on the team of Kyle Fletcher, the hometown boy, and Konosuke Takeshita. And that is going to be fire. Of course, we just got wrapped up with Private Party versus the Hurt Syndicate for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And the Hurt Syndicate is now your new tag team champions. So this is going to be interesting because it does provide a shakeup in the tag team division. But this is going to be really interesting moving forward because you have to think who is legitimately going to do that. I mean, I know somewhere down the line, I'm pretty sure Private Party is going to get a rematch in the future and really build that rivalry in there because I do see potential in that. But we shall see. But it is going to change a little bit of that landscape. I laughed at Renee's reaction to the promo. I thought Harley could face Mercedes. Still waiting officially on the time for a Grand Slam. The rumor is at 10:30 a.m. Yeah. Oh, boy. So that's going to be interesting. 2:30 in the morning. Well, the good news is at least it'll be streaming on Max. So at least I can watch it when I wake up in normal time. But I do believe Harley Cameron's going to get her first win at Grand Slam Australia. Because what better way of getting your first win in your home country? So that's something to do. Just waiting for commercials to come in. But you know, I figured at least since we're kind of on commercial, let's see if you could check out some merch as well. So check it out.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to wwtalkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave! Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
Make sure to check out our sponsor, All Caribbean Wrestling. And it's time to hear from Jeff Jarrett. And let's see what him and Karen have to say. Well, Jeff Jarrett is heading to the ring. And also, just to let you know, and I did get some breaking news thanks to Boza on this, that they're not going to have Nick Wayne versus Samoa Joe because of the situations happening with the canceled flights, the snowstorms that's been happening, and the snow that's been affecting all over the U.S. So we're not going to get Nick Wayne versus Samoa Joe tonight. We'll possibly get it in the near future. Or it's a possibility we could see it at Grand Slam, Australia. So more details on that. But Best Boza is a nice surprise. We're hearing from Jeff Jarrett. And I do agree it was added late because they had to shuffle a lot of things because of the flights. But we get to hear from Tennessee's own Jeff Jarrett. So let's see what he has to say. Well, looks like Jeff Jarrett's calling out Jon Moxley, and he's wasting no time showing up, and I'm pretty sure the other members of the Death Riders are coming in. So I hope Jeff Jarrett knows what he's doing. We thought it was going to get Jon Moxley, but it was Claudio. Thanks for the question, James. I'm actually eating some pretzels, so just to let you know. But let's see what Claudio has to say. Well, Claudio's putting it out there. He said if you got to get to Jon Moxley, you got to get through him. So, threw out the gauntlet. Hi, Eddie. Thank you for joining, and happy Wednesday. It's been good. Well, we got a match added for Dynamite next week, and it's like, whoa, Jeff Jarrett versus Claudio. And if Jeff Jarrett wins, he gets a shot for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I just hope he knows what he's doing. And then, of course, you see this Hangman and Adam Page is going to be in action after that brutal Texas death match that he had a Collision over the weekend. So we shall see on that. But up next, our former rivals, AR Fox taking on former AEW World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland. So that's going to be a fun match to do. And also be on the lookout for Ricochet, because knowing him, he's not that far. So we shall see where it goes. So, but so far it's been a pretty good solid Dynamite. I'm happy we are getting some announcements next week for Dynamite. They're announcing some matches. Of course, 2 weeks. Let's see, what's today? Yeah, 2 weeks from today, we have Ricochet versus Swerve Strickland in Atlanta, Georgia. The first time it has come back in 5 years. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And also, James, just to let you know, I will put the site in where you can purchase for merch. So feel free to check the chat in. That's the link to purchase all of our merchandise. So feel free to drop it in there. Time for Knoxville to see Nana Phil. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it with the Holy Spirit. But thank you guys for joining. Yes, Eddie, I was just getting to that part because they were talking about it on WWT Live today. I did have to step out a little bit early, and I'm very excited because I live closer to Philly. AEW Dynasty is coming to Philadelphia in April. The first ever AEW pay-per-view coming to Philly, and I'm very, very excited for this. I am definitely planning on going in person. So I'm trying to persuade Boss Lady and trying to get me to go and possibly join the media scrum that day. So we're going to see on that. I'm going to be like, hey, look, I'm going to go to Dynasty. Let's go. So I'm very excited that a pay-per-view is going to be added, and it's going to be super, super fun. And of course, it's on Dynasty. So I am very happy on that. As you know, this Grand Slam is heading to Australia Sunday, March 9th. First pay-per-view for AEW 2025 Revolution in Los Angeles, California. So if you're in the LA area, make sure to check it out. It's going to be fun. So it has been a pretty good, solid Dynamite so far. And we're almost at the 9 o'clock hour, so we shall see. Hi, T. Harris. Thank you for joining on this watch along for AEW Dynamite every Wednesday. This is Courtney Rice, WWT's PR princess, and everything you need to know about all things elite. You're just coming in because we kicked off the show with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay facing off against each other and survived a beatdown with the Don Callis family, and we have another match. Added to Grand Slam Australia. Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega taking on Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. Oh, and they're showing the highlights from last week's Gauntlet match with Megan Bayne. If you don't know who she is, and if you follow the independent scene, she's definitely well known in that. She's wrestled in Stardom. I have seen her wrestle in Beyond Wrestling and Wrestle Open in Worcester, Massachusetts. She's pretty good. So they did a quick, solid promo on her and who she is. And look who's coming in. Mr. Swerve Strickland. Nana with his coffee. A lot of signs for Swerve. They're doing it. Swerve when I drive. And his record, 44 wins, 19, I think it says 19 or 13 losses, 1 tie. Are people happy to see Swerve or not do that there? Well, Rosa, it's interesting you say that because I know a lot of people do love seeing the Nana dance, but I've seen a lot of signs that people love Swerve. And they say Swerve's house. So I think it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Well, I know Swerve, he means all business. Because now he's dealing with Air Fox, but he has Ricochet on his mind. And I think this is something that these two people know each other very, very, very well. So this is definitely going to be a solid match. Definitely going to be solid. Very excited to see former rivals. But we all know Swerve wants Ricochet. So definitely be on the lookout for Ricochet if he's going to interfere in this match. They are filled with the Holy Spirit of Swerve. And here we go. Definitely taking shots back and forth. Swerve and Air Fox. Of course, Nana's looking over at ringside. Oof. Nasty hit by Swerve. Ooh. Swerve is like, I'm not breaking a sweat over this. I'm not breaking a sweat. Ooh. Swerve landed on his arm. And it looks like we see Ricochet I don't know what Ricochet, and he has those golden scissors. So I don't know what that vicious little nerd has planned. But AR Fox was going after the arm of Swerve, and it looked like he hurt that pretty not so great. Hopefully it's not too serious ahead of his match with Ricochet in 2 weeks. So it looks like, even though the match is in picture, the match is still going on, and Swerve, he still has that cold-blooded murderer look on his face. Here we go. Ooh, nice neck breaker by Swerve. And also feel free to put in the chat on who do you think is going to win this match. I mean, I know people say Swerve, but feel free to put in the chat on who you think is going to win. Because this definitely is no slouch of a match between these two who know each other very well. Oof. Nasty, nasty move by Swerve. Nana interacting with the crowd, and the crowd are starting to feel the holy spirit of Swerve. Nana clapping for approval. Nice counter by AR Fox. I'm very curious on Ricochet because I know I have a feeling he's going to enter in the ring because he has that look on his face. Nana trying to get the crowd riled up behind Swerve. Let's see. Looks like AR Fox is taunting Swerve a bit. That's the last man I think you should even taunt for anything. And who does he think tried to take a playbook out of my client's OC's playbook? My client OC, who we have not seen since the January 1st episode of Dynamite. I haven't seen my client OC in a while, but pretty sure he's getting his much needed rest, doing his thing, and we'll see him soon. So it's back live from Knoxville, Tennessee. AR Fox looks like he has the upper hand, and it looks like with Swerve, it doesn't seem he has no movement whatsoever. Oof. Nasty backbreaker. It looked like like I said, it looked like Swerve hasn't breaking a sweat. And we're actually in the 9 o'clock hour. Where has the time gone with this? Oh, nice move by AR Fox. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Suplex. Oof. Swerve is doing his thing, and the crowd's feeling it. Is Swerve gonna end this right here? Oh! There's Ricochet. That little weasel. Get him, Nana! Nana's got the pipe! Nana's got the pipe! Oh, man. See? You should not piss off Prince Nana. Get him! You better get him, Prince Nana! AR Fox is trying to hold a distraction. Get him, Nana! Get him! One. Is this it? Kick out by Swerve. I'm sorry. I'm just cracking up so much. Nana running with the pipe. Ooh, 450 slash. Yeah. Is this it? Kick out. Oh, this has to be it. Oh, kill shot. This has to be it. House call. This is it. And go get your manager. Your winner is Swerve Strickland, but Swerve, get your manager. Side note on the arena. This arena was the site of WCW Clash of Champions 15 back in June of 1991. Thank you for educating us in history, Eddie Foster. I did not know that. That's interesting. Don't mess with my boy Nana. Yeah, you would think. Don't mess with him when he has a pipe in his head or anything. I remember looking at oh God, Forbidden Door. Not Forbidden Door. Double or Nothing. It was Double or Nothing, and Swerve was facing off against Christian Cage. And Nana came in there. And uh-oh. Ricochet. Ricochet's messing with Prince Nana. Oh, that's a no-no. You don't mess with Prince Nana. Well, that was a fun match to watch, and Ricochet and oh God, Ricochet. I have it stuck in my head. Swerve and AR Fox shook hands. So after the match, and they're showing last week between that was a good match. Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Jon Moxley, and Powerhouse Hobbs biting the ear of Jon Moxley, making it bleed. But We did that. And then, of course, we saw last Saturday on Collision, Maximum Carnage, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Big Bill in the ring. Actually, this wouldn't be a bad match. Oh, and here we go. Our Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho with his New York Minute. So it looks like we got another match added to AEW Collision Homecoming. And who is MJF really here? And he is here, shockingly enough, and he wasn't announced on the card. But let's see what Mr. MJF has to say. This is a surprise because he wasn't on the announcement of the card this week. He wasn't on the announcement last week, but it's always nice to see the former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Let's see what MJF has to say. So interesting words from MJF. And look who comes out, Mr. Hangman Adam Page. But it's supposed to be he's scheduled for action, but I'm curious on what the interaction is going to be between Hangman and MJF, since technically both of them are pretty much hotheads. And Hangman Adam Page is coming to the ring face to face. MJF. Hangman is telling MJF to get the hell out of the ring so he can be in action. Get him at it. Get that jerk out of here. Oh, and Hangman has not wasted no time. Because you recall, he did get a victory over that gruesome Texas death match against Christopher Daniels this past weekend on Collision Maximum Carnage. Well, that was really quick. Your winner, Hangman Adam Page. Oh, God, he's still beating up. He ain't gonna learn. He ain't gonna learn. Oh! We see Christopher Daniels. I'm happy he's standing still after that brutal match that he beaten. Well, let's hear what Christopher Daniels has to say, especially with the neck brace. Well, that was really interesting. Christopher Daniels, after this match, he can't wrestle again, and he's okay with that. But it looks like Hangman Adam Page is not okay with that either. What does that mean? I don't know, but we're going to talk a lot about this during the post show. But switching over from Hangman, we get to see the ladies in action. Jamie Hager versus Julia Hart, round 2. So this is definitely going to be a fun match. I'm very excited to see it. And, it's on commercial. So you know what? Since we're on commercial, we'll do a little snippet of one of our sponsors, All Caribbean Wrestling. And if you did not check it earlier, feel free to check them out.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views or go on the YouTube page of All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, Go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
Yes, we would to thank everybody working at All Caribbean Wrestling, along with being one of our sponsors here at Women's Wrestling Talk. Didn't think we needed Hangman in action. So far, they're doing a great job with the roster they had to work with. Most everything stayed intact. Yeah, I will say, like, everything intact. I mean, when they have, because AEW has a lot of people on that roster, so it's nice that they don't have they can change it up a bit and it's not too crazy. I mean, I was very surprised to see Hangman in action because I didn't think he would be here after the brutal match he had over the weekend. I was very surprised to see MJF. Well, actually, not really, because he showed up unannounced last week, which is very surprising because we haven't seen MJF in a while. But it is definitely staying intact a bit. We're seeing some of the ladies in action, and, well, after that is our main event. But also, just to let you know, I was talking about the Learning Tree a bit. This Saturday on Collision at AEW Collision Homecoming in Jacksonville, it will be Big Bill taking on Powerhouse Hobbs this weekend, along with, of course, Mariah May and Toni Storm doing face-to-face with each other. So that is definitely a card. Also, we're going to get some trios action. We're going to get Daddy Magic Matt Menard, the TNT champion Daniel Garcia, and as Matt Menard calls him, New Dad, Cool Hand, and taking on the Undisputed Kingdoms, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly in trios action. And it's definitely going to be a fun one. Of course, members of the Undisputed Kingdom are eyeing Daniel Garcia's TNT championship. So that's also another thing to layer. But yeah, there's a lot happening. And I definitely want to thank all of you for joining on this watch along for AEW Dynamite. Do not go anywhere because we are going to do a post show on the same link. So do not go anywhere and get a breather, get some water in, get everything that you need to do. And feel free with that. Oh, and they're showing... I can't believe this. So earlier tonight, as I mentioned, we got to see Ospreay and Kenny Omega face to face, and they had a moonsault on the rails outside of the ring, and I'm just like, oh my god, it was insanity. But as we heard announced for Grand Slam Australia, Ospreay and Kenny Omega taking on Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. And I love that he's showing highlights of earlier tonight. I know they're trying to fill up things as much as they can, but I love that they're showing highlights from earlier tonight. So, of course, you have your AEW Tag Team Champions in the Hart Syndicate. And look who shows up! Your TBS champion, Mercedes Moné. Renee. Oof. Boza, did last week I put a bold prediction in that match was going to happen? I think I did put a bold prediction in it. I wasn't joking. I actually made that bold prediction last week. I was like, oh man. If I were Mercedes, I would not take Harley Cameron very seriously because she gave it her all when she faced off against Mariah May. And she has gotten better in her wrestling craft, but I can see it probably happening in Australia. I've been saying it since last week, in a couple weeks. Well, last week I was thinking about this. And I feel like I need to pull up my clip for my bold prediction last week. But I have a feeling Harley's going to cave in. Harley's making her shot at TBS champion, but we shall see. But now we turn to the ladies' action. My client, Jamie Hayter, taking on Julia Hart. I will say with Julia Hart's entrance, and I have to say, knowing the words to her theme song every week and just embracing that passion, that's dope. And even after the match, she knows the words. I have to say, that is pretty dope of Julia Hart. And she could feel the energy and the passion that she puts into her character. That's pretty dope. But it's nice to see the ladies, and shockingly enough, it's not even 9:30 yet. It's 9:24. Surprise, surprise. And I can't believe we're almost close to the final 30 minutes of AEW Dynamite. Where has the time gone? But it was nice to see an appearance from our TBS champion, Mercedes Moné. Of course, she's celebrating her 4 wonderful belts that she got. So, yeah, we need to talk a lot about this in the post show because I have a lot to say. But as you know, AEW Dynasty, Sunday, April 6th, VIP early access this upcoming Tuesday at 10 a.m. So this is going to be fun. And Jamie Hayter is wasting no time taking out Julia Hart. She ain't wasting no time. I just hope they give these ladies a good, solid match. Because pretty much after this, it's the main event. Julia Hart showing a little bit of offense. Ooh, nasty steel steps onto Julia Hart. Ooh, drop kick by Jamie. I don't know why, but I know people think of her, she's giving out Becky Lynch vibes. But I don't know why, but she reminds me of a little bit of Velma from Scooby-Doo. And without the glasses, because Velma, she had that, well, the hair color, and then there's just the clothing and everything else. It just reminds me of Velma from Scooby-Doo. Oh, nasty. Ooh, nasty landing onto Jamie Hayter. Kick up by Jamie. All right, so it's going picture in picture. But the match is still going on live, and it looks like Julia's putting a headlock onto my client, Jamie Hager, but Jamie Hager got out of it. Sunset flip. Kick out by Julia. Sunset flip galore. It's like hot potato. Oof. Submission move from Julia onto the ropes. Julia looks like she has the upper hand and everything else. And also feel free to put in the chat on who do you think's going to win. Do you think Julia Hart's going to win? Or do you think my client Jamie Hager is going to win? Ooh, my client showing a little bit of offense onto Julia. Go, go, go. Hi, Erin Teagle. Hello, happy Wednesday. Everything's doing good on my end. I hope everything's doing good for you and the new year is treating you well. It's hard to believe we're almost towards the end of January and we'll be in February. Interesting. But I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening and they are enjoying this watch along edition of AEW Dynamite coming to you from Knoxville, Tennessee, where we had some incredible matches. As I mentioned earlier, do not go anywhere because once we wrap up Dynamite, we're going to do the post show and it's all going to be on the same link and even moving forward. So there's no switching links or changing and anything else. Everything is going to be done in one link, which I'm very excited on. So going back to the match, where even though it's a picture-in-picture, the match is still live with my client, Jamie Hager, taking on Julia Hart. And it looks like Julia has the offense right there. All right, and we are back live onto Dynamite. Ooh. Oh, nice counter by Jamie. I will say, with everything that's been happening with the snowstorms and everything else, I'm happy at least they're giving this women's match at least enough time it needs, and it doesn't feel like it's rush. So I'm happy that it's not rushed. So I'm happy they are getting enough time as they can. Well, Deadpool Party, thank you for joining. An interesting comment that you put in. So feel free to join into the chat and everything as you're catching on. Ladies action between Jamie Hager and Julia Hart. My client, Jamie Hager. But it looks like Jamie's trying to get the upper hand onto Julia. Ooh, 1, 2, Kick out by Julia. That was a close 2 right there. It could have been 3. It looks like she's trying to put submission hold on the Julia. Oh, Julia got the ropes. She got the ropes. My client, Jamie Hager, needs to watch out for the miss because the first time that they met, she got misted in the face. So she needs to be very careful on that. And Julia Hart looks like she's putting her submission in. But Jamie's not caving in. Broke off that submission. Backbreaker. I'm just very happy, like I said earlier, with everything that's been happening and everything else, I'm happy they are giving the ladies the amount of time. And this is what they really need to do on their women's division. If they really say they have the best women in that division, they need to give them at least a proper time. And also give them storylines to incorporate. Oh, and your winner, my client, Jamie Hager, got her a win. Finally, she got a win. Former AEW Women's Champion. But I feel like with stuff like this, if they give him enough time and also creating storylines that don't involve the respective titles belts, they really do have a solid division they could work with. And also have to be consistent. And also, we have seen this on Collision many, many times where they have delivered like 1 or 2 women's matches. But I would love to see at least 1 or 2 women's matches on Dynamite. Oh, we're going to hear Jamie speak. So I'm very curious on what Miss Hager has to say. Well, I have a feeling they're going to go round 3. And I wouldn't have a problem with that, round 3. Oh, and we get to hear from Powerhouse Hobbs. So Powerhouse Hobbs had some interesting words to say because this Saturday on Collision at Homecoming in Jacksonville, it will be Big Bill versus Powerhouse Hobbs. And that match is definitely going to be a one. And also, it looks like we have a Saturday Night War happening this weekend. Saturday night's main event, AEW Collision. So that's going to be very, very interesting to watch. But we're right in our main event. And it's only 9:36. Does this mean AEW is going to end on time? I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to jinx it. Because, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it being overrun, but very rarely we've seen Dynamite end on time in a very rare instinct. I would love to see Julia Hart win a championship in 2025. Oh, she's definitely getting some gold in 2025. Because remember, she's a former TBS champion. And also, she has a score to settle with Miss Mercedes Moné. Because if you remember, the encounter that they had when Julia was TBS champion, when Mercedes first came in, they had a face-to-face with each other. So that's also interesting too. Normally we're just having our women's match by now. Well, Boza, I mean, I can't make assumptions on that because I would think they have some reliable writers, but I just wish for stuff like this that they give the ladies at least a little amount of time for their matches. And everything doesn't have to be rushed. But I do like the flow of this because even though it was a snowstorm and some of their stars couldn't come, they delivered a very proper good show. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them did show up on AEW Collision Homecoming at Daly's Place. Because that is going to be a fun one as well. But this has been a very good, solid Dynamite so far. I am very, very excited. And also share with all of you with the post show on your thoughts, reaction, everything that occurred in tonight's events. We do have a few matches that have been announced for Grand Slam Australia. Next week's Dynamite, and also, as I mentioned, this weekend's Collision coming to you from Daly's Place. But it has been a fun show, and we're just getting ready for our main event. And also, Boza, this is going to be a lesson that they're going to learn because, yeah, they had to rewrite everything, but this is going to be probably a lesson they may have to learn on how to end stuff on time. I mean, yes, there's going to be an overrun for AEW. I get it. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And especially with the NBA games happening, March Madness, and baseball. Lots happening. But we shall see what happens. I don't want to make any predictions soon. But I'm just waiting for these commercials to end. And, we hear from Swerve. Well, we got to hear from Swerve Strickland, and he wants Ricochet in 2 weeks. We also get to hear this interesting faction with Buddy Matthews, Brody King, and Julia Hart. I'm no surprise to this because the rumors are circulating that Aleister Black is possibly heading back to WWE. So this is a really interesting trio that I'm very intrigued. And also this Saturday on Collision for Homecoming, it'll be the Gates of Agony taking on Brody King and Buddy Matthews. Oh, I just thought of something because I was asking earlier on who do I think should challenge for the Hurts and get for those titles. Why not Brody King and Buddy Matthews? That could be really interesting. And who better to do that? Because, of course, obviously, Private Party's going to get a rematch. But it would be interesting to see Brody King and Buddy Matthews get a shot at that. But I'll talk a little bit about that in the post show later on. But I just actually thought about it in my head because I kept thinking, like, wait, FTRs with Adam Copeland. My clients, the Acclaimed, have split for now. Keyword for now. And it's just really, and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, imagine MVP having to deal with Julia Hart at ringside. Oh my God, that would be crazy. And what if like she missed him in the face? That would be crazy. So yeah, at first I was a bit bummed that we couldn't see the Acclaimed and Private Party rivalry, but it would be interesting to see Buddy Matthews and Brody King go after those belts. That would be very fun to watch. But anyways, we're in main event time between Cope taking on Pac. And this is going to be a low-key fun main event. I do smell a lot of shenanigans at ringside because, of course, you have the rest of the Death Riders leading by the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley. Of course, you have FTR that's going to be handling this, and possibly the Outrunners who are aligned with FTR as well. So there's going to be a lot of shenanigans in this match, but here we go, folks. Your main event, Adam Copeland versus Pac. And feel free to put in the chat on who do you think is going to win this match between Cope and Pac. So feel free. But I smell a lot of shenanigans in this match. And here we go. So here we go. Cope trying to put a submission hold on Pac. It looks like both of them are trying to get the best of it. Oof. The one thing about Pac, he always lands on his legs. And nice encounter. It looks like Cope has the upper hand here. Oof! Suplex on the barricade. That's an unusual spot to do. Oh, Cope is just really taking out Pac. Oh, I feel so bad for that announcer's table. I feel like it's had the most hittings all night. Oh my goodness. Referee's checking on Cope's neck. Same neck that's been hurting, and Pac found an easy target to hit on, so he's targeting that neck. Cope is trying to stay up. Ooh! Nice counter by Pac. Well, match is going picture in picture, but the match is still going live. Oh, nasty hit Pac gave to Cope. Pac putting a headlock on Cope. Pac is just looking at Cope like it is his target. And also, if you guys are joining, we are in main event time. The Rated R Superstar Cope taking on 1/3 of the Trios champion Pac. And this has been a solid main event with these two wrestlers who are no strangers to each other. But it looks like Pac has the upper hand here and trying to target that neck of Cope that's been bothering him throughout the night. But I do smell a lot of shenanigans in this match. So, oof, drop kick. And Pac still stands on his feet using his legs. That man looks like he didn't break a sweat. 2, kick out by Cope. And we are back live with our main event. The Rated R Superstar Cope taking on Pac. And this has been a really good, solid match between these two. Crowd's trying to get behind Cope. They're trying to get behind him. Nasty suplex. Drop kick, and both of them are down. Both men are trying to get up to their feet. And as I mentioned, they are already putting like the matches in for Homecoming this weekend on AEW Collision. As I mentioned, we have tag team action. We have trios action this weekend. Of course, my client, Tony Storm, facing off with the devious Glamour in Mariah May. And then, next week. So next week on Dynamite, it will be Will Ospreay versus the Machine, Brian Cage. It's definitely going to be a solid match. Kick out by Pac. And also next week, as I mentioned earlier, it'll be Jeff Jarrett taking on Claudio Castagnoli. If Jeff Jarrett beats Claudio, he will get his AEW World Championship match against Jon Moxley. And then, of course, 2 weeks from tonight, in Atlanta, Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet. And I hope that's the main event, too. That would be a fun main event to do. Pac looks like he has upper hand here. Ooh, nasty, nasty clothesline. And Cope is feeling it. Setting him up. Is this match going to be over? But I do smell a lot of shenanigans in this. Ooh, Pac is trying to get a submission locked in. Is this match going to be it? Ooh, submission hold broke. Oof. Kick on the neck. Oof. That'd be a sick kick and a nasty one. Kicked on the spot where he had neck surgery and didn't think he was going to make it back. He's putting his submission hold in. Is Cope going to tap right here? Is he fading? No. He's trying to counter the submission hold. Shall see. Let's see. Ooh, a nasty hit to the back. All right. Cope is taking a hard time getting up, but sorry. Put this matchup into place. That's it. Your winner. Your winner, the Rated R Superstar Cope. I think Mox told Pac to take out Adam. He doesn't want to face Adam with the AEW World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Yeah, I'm starting to notice a pattern here because Moxley may have won his match. And also you have to remember they kind of have to fill that gap because Darby is in Mount Everest while training to do Mount Everest, so he won't be back till spring. So it's really kind of figure out who is a legit contender. And what the heck? Oh man. So the Death Riders took out the Rock and Roll Express and FTR. Crazy. So now Cope is all by himself, and look who comes out, the Death Riders. Cope is all alone. All of his friends that he knows took out. We haven't seen Darby since last year. Because who else on the roster could help him? Because this is really hard to do. And oof, it's not good. Actually, yeah, pretty much 4-on-1 at this point. And they're targeting the neck of Cope. This is just a 4-on-1 assault. Well, actually 5-on-1 if you count Marina Shafir. What? Jay White? We haven't seen Jay White in a while. Well, there's Jay White. And also remember, he has a beef to settle with Wheeler Yuta as well. So I can see a future match with them. So yeah, Jay White. Because he has some unfinished business to settle with Moxley as well. I know, it's a shame he doesn't have the Bang Bang Gang with him. Because all the members are out. Whoa! He wants to put the switchblade! Ooh, and of course that little sap Wheeler Yuta. Part of me misses my boy Orange. I just miss OC. Yeah, I mean, he tried to help out Cope. Then remember, all members of the Bang Bang Gang, they're hurt. FTR, they're tied up in the back, along with taking out the Rock and Roll Express. Man. And Moxley's putting a submission hold onto Cope. And they took out Jay White as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the storyline goes because well, it looks like the Death Riders did their part, so that's why they are leaving. And they left their mark, as usual, and making a statement, not just onto Cope and Jay White, but pretty much everybody in the AEW locker room. So this is going to be very interesting and a lot more questions and answers. But this is going to wrap up Dynamite, AEW Dynamite. Very interesting episode. They're setting up John and Adam probably for Evolution. Yeah, I would probably think so because, like I said, with Darby doing Mount Everest in the spring, Revolution is their first pay-per-view in March, so they're going to have to do a lot of build-up. But it was a very fun and solid Dynamite. But also, feel free to give me at least the next 30 seconds to get ready for the post show. So feel free to take a bathroom break, get your water, feel hydrated, everything out, because I will be back in the next 30 seconds so we can do the post show. Thank you guys for doing a quick 30 seconds. And this won't take long because I know it's late and we want to wrap up AEW Dynamite. But it was a very solid episode. So if you missed it, we came to you from Knoxville, Tennessee. It was a very unique and interesting arena to have it at. So we kicked it off there. We just kicked it off right away with Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega face to face. These guys are no strangers to each other, and they had a slight encounter with almost everyone from the Don Callis family, and they cleaned house right away and threw the gauntlet in there at Grand Slam Australia. It will be Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega taking on Kyle Fletcher, the hometown boy of Australia, and Konosuke Takeshita. It was definitely a good way to kick off Dynamite because, as I mentioned earlier, Ospreay and Kenny are no strangers to each other. They have big egos. Ospreay hit Kenny Omega with a screwdriver at Forbidden Door, and Kenny has not forgotten about that. But when they work together and they have a common enemy, that is when they work together. So it's going to be interesting to see because, yes, it's 2-on-2, but technically it's kind of 4-on-2. 4-on-2. The Creeps Worst Nightmare came true. Yeah, hey, look, Don Callis, he made this whole mess come true, but we shall see. But look, anytime I see that creep get beaten up, it's just a fun day for me. But I'm really excited for the two of them. The arena was so small, came off well on TV. It was interesting to see how they could interact during the fight. It was good. Yeah, that was really good. And see, like, Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega do high-flying moves off the barricade and off of one of the stands. It was just an eye-opener, and the fans got into it. So hopefully they keep this up and work well together because they're going to need each other. They're going to need a lot of each other, and curious to see how the storyline is going to pan out with them and the Don Callis family, and do think there's going to be more. But anyways, we kicked off with them. We got a match set for Grand Slam Dynamite. So we go from this to the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Private Party taking on the Hart Syndicate. I will say this, at least it wasn't a squash match. But we do have new AEW Tag Team Champions. I'm not mad about that. I'm happy, but I feel like it came a little bit too rushed. I know the Hurt Syndicate's trying to get on the high, and it's not pretty much trying to rain on their parade, but I mean, they came what they did. They wanted to hurt people. I will say they screwed over my clients, the Acclaimed, because if he would have never gave that card to Caster in the first place, we could have had the Acclaim versus Private Party as a rivalry. But who am I to say? Who am I to say? But I'm very intrigued that they are the champs. I'm just very curious moving forward on the length and who's going to beat them for it. I will say this: as long as it's not the Young Bucks, I don't really care who holds the belts. But it's going to be very intriguing. I mean, of course, Private Party may have a rematch in the near future, so this is not far from them. Also, Swerve Strickland still has a score to settle with the Hurt Syndicate as well, and it's a possibility Ricochet may be joining the Hurt Syndicate. So there's a lot of layers to this. Also, especially with one half of my own clients, Max Caster, as I mentioned, got a card for MVP, but I don't think he's going to join the Hurt Syndicate at all. But I'm not mad at it, but I'm just saying. Congratulations to your AEW Tag Team Champions, the Hurt Syndicate. It's going to be very interesting and a shakeup within the tag team division. I do see potentially Buddy Matthews and Brody King getting a shot at those belts because, like I said, trying to find legitimate contenders. FTR, they're with Cope. My clients, the Acclaim, split up. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this division folds. But like I said, congratulations again to the Hurt Syndicate. They are your new AEW Tag Team Champions. So, and also I did get a report from Boza earlier today that Nick Wayne and Samoa Joe was not happening because of the snowstorms that have been happening the last couple days, flight delays. So we may get that in the near future. We may possibly get that at Grand Slam Australia. We don't know yet. So we shall see on that. And we saw some surprises come out. We got to see Jeff Jarrett come out and really want to make a case on being AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And he called out Jon Moxley. But we got to see Claudio Castagnoli came out and saying, if you have to get to John, you have to get through me. So next week on Dynamite, it will be Claudio Castagnoli taking on Jeff Jarrett. If Jeff Jarrett wins, he gets a shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match against Jon Moxley. So I'm very happy to see Jeff Jarrett, trying to make the last run of his wrestling career before he hangs him up for good. So it's a really good opportunity for him to get some mic stuff in. So, but he also still has a beef that he settled with MJF, which shockingly enough, he actually showed up tonight. Unannounced, by the way, which I was very surprised since this was the second week in a row. I did not think he would show up at all. But, he still has a beef to settle with Jeff Jarrett. They're going to have a match somewhere down the line. And, of course, he interrupted Hangman Adam Page's match. And Hangman did his match. Well, we saw a stare down between Hangman and MJF. So that was very interesting as well. And seeing that, which they have no animosity between each other. And after the match, after Hangman's match, Christopher Daniels comes out and he did announce that he is possibly retiring from wrestling after the gruesome Texas death match between Hangman and Christopher Daniels. And, Christopher Daniels still wants to be Hangman's friend and he's possibly hanging up the boots. And Hangman, you would also think Hangman would be happy, but he did seem a little distraught. So I did see a lot of facial expressions on that after hearing the news. But that's going to be an interesting storyline to follow. I'm trying to go through all the matches. Also, we got to see Swerve Strickland back in action, taking on his former foe, AR Fox. This was actually a really good, solid match where both of them are no strangers to each other. They had very solid chemistry all around. Excited to see them. Of course, we got to see that little weasel Ricochet come out and try to put the threat in. But thanks to Prince Nana, he had a pipe in his hand and he was ready to hit him and chase him right into the pack. So I was very happy to see Nana come in. But of course, during the match, Ricochet tried to threaten Prince Nana with scissors. Okay, the one thing about this that really irks me with Ricochet, I understand scissors as a weapon, but he could have used another lethal weapon more than scissors. It could have been at least something. I don't know, like a barbed wire bat or a flamethrower, a pipe, or something. I just wish it was something other than scissors. And also, stop stealing stuff from my clients anyway, because they're the ones that handle scissoring. Well, not gold scissors, but pink. Just saying. But of course, while Nana was being abducted by Ricochet, Swerve Strickland did win the match. And he shook hands with AR Fox. And he had a lot to say before his match in 2 weeks from tonight at Atlanta, Georgia, against Ricochet. And that match is going to be fire. And I hope that match is the main event, because that would definitely be fire. In the ATL. So awesome. And of course, we got to see our wonderful TBS champion, Mercedes Moné. Ricochet ain't so big and bad unless he has scissors. Such a weak. That's what he started to act like, Bo's. Like he's like a annoying little troll that goes away and wants to make a statement on things. That's how I feel. But anyways, we got to see the TBS champion, Mercedes Moné, so celebrate all 4 of her bouts she achieved and earned. This was really interesting because last week I made a crazy bold prediction that Harley Cameron was going to challenge Mercedes Moné for the TBS championship in Australia, and Harley would get her first win. So Harley wanted to put out a challenge, and she's a very talented singer in real life, by the way. She's super talented. But, of course, Mercedes didn't take her seriously because she mentioned that she hasn't gotten a win at AEW at all. So that really, but, yeah, it's just really interesting to see, because I was joking last week when I thought Harley versus Mercedes for the TBS title. It's a strong possibility it could happen. Mercedes can see as an easy way to go 14-0. Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting to see because as I mentioned, I made a crazy bold prediction, and I kept thinking well, it's in her home country. She hasn't won yet. So it would be cool to get her first win in AEW in her home country. And Mercedes, if I were her, I would not take Harley lightly at all. Because I noticed she had the similar problem where she competed with Anna Jay. Because she didn't take Anna Jay very seriously. So if I were her, I would not underestimate Harley Cameron just yet. Because she put on a really good solid match against Mariah May on Collision. And the fans were going crazy for her. So let this play along a bit. And if I were Mercedes, I wouldn't take anything lightly. So we shall see on that. We also got to see some of the ladies in action. My client, Jamie Hager, taking on Julia Hart. And I will say it was a very, very, very solid match to have. I was very proud of the ladies. And I feel like this is something AEW needs to realize is giving a little extra time to the ladies. And also I would love them to add a few more women's matches on Dynamite. They're able to do it on Collision, but I would like to see them add them more on Dynamite and really show the women's division. Because you say AEW is the best women's division on paper, yes, but it's time to really back that up and prove it. And also creating a lot more storylines that don't involve the TBS championship or the AEW women's championship. And I would be okay with that. Because you did it with Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa last year, even though specifically it was on Collision. It was a really solid rivalry that I got to follow and love the matches that they put on with each other. So that's a little food for thought there with the ladies. Your winner is Jamie Hager, and she had a few words to say about Julia Hart, where she did respect her and really kind of being on her own. And it's so ironic because the promo they aired with Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Julia Hart, it aired. And how ironically enough, the news circulate that Aleister Black may not be with AEW anymore. That is interesting. And you heard it through the grapevine. Heard it through. So we got on through most of the matches. Of course, we got to see my client, Toni Storm, as she gets ready for her face-to-face this weekend with Mariah May for the AEW Women's Championship at Grand Slam Australia. I'm just going to be simple with this. She's ready. Toni is ready. And don't let her looks fool you because I think she has a plan in place. I think she does have a plan. Because I know everybody wants it like this rookie and everything else, and people are skeptical, but let her cook and let her be the next AEW Women's Champion because she's still the same person. Even though she's not timeless anymore, she is still the same person, right?
Still the same lovable, captivating Toni that I've always been.
There you have it. She's still the same person, my client. So that's definitely going to be a fun to watch and very intrigued on their face-to-face this weekend at AEW Collision Homecoming at Daly's Place. We also got to hear from the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, and Big Bill put out a proposition to face Powerhouse Hobbs this weekend on Collision, and Hobbs accepted it because if you saw that encounter that they had in Collision this past weekend, oh man, that was insane. So it's official. Big Bill, Powerhouse Hobbs this weekend at AEW Collision Homecoming. It's definitely shaping up to be a really good solid card. As I mentioned, of course, the Gates of Agony taking on Buddy Matthews and Brody King. We're also get to see some trios action. The Undisputed Kingdom's Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole taking on the TNT champion Daniel Garcia, Daddy Magic Matt Menard, and the new dad, as he calls Cool Hand Ange, who recently just had a child with Ruby Soho. They are back with trios action this weekend, and it's going to be fun. And now, since we covered all the matches, now that we have all the matches, it's time for the main event. Oh, thank you, Marcus. Thank you for joining on this post show. So, we have our main events between Pac and the Rated R Superstar Cope. It was a very solid match between the two of them. They definitely deliver a lot of offense. We did see Pac deliver on that neck that Cope has had issues with within the last decade. So that really took a little bit of a turn there. And it was very very nervous that I was hoping it was on a serious injury. So it really turned out good. Also, going back and forth, really showing it was a really solid match. I really did enjoy it. And your winner was Copeland at Cope. I have to learn how to call him Cope. However, after the match was not that good because the Death Riders really continue making threats around the waves of AEW. They continue making a tear of it. They took out his friends, FTR and the Rock and Roll Express. Well, actually, hand-tied FTR. And they came out to the ring and they attacked Cope for, mostly 5-on-1. And we got to see Jay White. Because, as I said, he still has a beef with Wheeler Yuta. So they're definitely going to have a match in the future. And that's something that I'm looking forward to see. But the odds were stacked against both Jay White and Cope. So this is going to be very interesting to see because, oh man, this is going to be intriguing because not only you had Rated FTR, on top of that, Jay White, and then if you have the Bang Bang Gang to it, because they're former trios champions. Because remember, the Death Riders not only hold the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, they also hold the trios championship belt. So this is going to be interesting to watch. I will say this. the Death Riders are going to get what's coming to them soon, but it's going to be very intriguing to watch. And plus, don't worry, folks, because as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Marina Shafir is going to get what's coming to her soon, because we saw it with Willow, and they're going to have a match. They're going to have a match with each other. I feel like if it doesn't happen on the Dynamite, and if it doesn't happen on the Grand Slam, Marina and Willow are going to have a match at Revolution. Because I feel like that's going to be very interesting to see, because we have seen snippets of it. And obviously, most of the entire women's division can handle Marina Shafir. But I feel like there needs to be somebody that has that. And also with the fact Willow stepped into the plate because she had her boy, my client OC's back. And unfortunately, we haven't seen Orange Cassidy back since June 1st. Yeah, Willow versus Marina has to happen. Conglomeration versus Death Riders. That'll be fun. Yeah, because like I said, I don't even know if Kyle O'Reilly's still. We still don't have any answers if Kyle O'Reilly is still with the conglomeration since he's back with the Undisputed Kingdom. I mean, of course, we have Ishii, Mark Briscoe, and we haven't seen my boy OC since the January 1st episode when he faced off against Hangman. So, but yes, Willow and Marina Shafir is going to happen. I'm predicting that it probably will happen at Revolution, because this is where they need to, and it's their first pay-per-view, first AEW pay-per-view of 2025. So that's going to be an all-around episode. Also, that pretty much wrapped up this week's episode of Dynamite. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. It was a very solid episode. They could have done a few things differently, but I give it an 8.5. It was a pretty good, solid episode as they continue the road, not just on the Grand Slam, but also onto Revolution as well. So we'll see a lot of storylines play out in a couple of weeks. It's going to be very intriguing with Dawn and Cope, considering with the fact, like I said, Darby Allin, he's getting ready to train. He's getting ready to train and climb Mount Everest. So he's supposed to be back in spring. We haven't seen Bryan Danielson since Wrestle Dynasty. Same 8.5 out of 10. Given the circumstances with the weather, it was a good show that they were able to still have a good chunk of what was promoted. Exactly. That's why I was very happy. Like, even though with the circumstances and everything else, they still delivered a good show. And it wasn't like no weird, awkward phases. They just kept going and everything flowed to the test. But like I said, the Death Riders are going to get what's coming to them soon. So be very, very patient. And it was definitely a solid one all around. Anybody that knows me, I'm an advocate when it comes to tag team wrestling. I'm very curious on what the Hurt Syndicate is going to do. I would not be shocked if they held it throughout 2025. I would not be shocked at all. Because like I said, the only other people that I could see is probably Buddy Matthews and Brody King. Because I could see them as legitimate threats to those belts. I will say this, as long as it's not the Young Bucks, I don't care at this point. Because I feel like this is something where the tag team division needs a lot of revamping. I mean, some of your top tier tag teams are not there anymore. And this is where a lot of tag teams and other ones need to step up and fill that void. Like I said, FTR, they're teaming up with Cope. My client C claimed to split. So this is where some of the other tag teams really need to step up. Start racking wins consistently, and also really puts the Hurt Syndicate in a very good spot, being the dominant tag team, wiping off everybody from the floor. So, like I said, I don't want the Young Bucks touching those AEW tag team title belts. But as I mentioned with my clients a couple weeks ago, tag teams split up. They do their own thing solo. And I know everybody wanted my reaction from over the weekend on Collision with the Acclaim. Well, the one thing about them, and this is what I love about them, they want to make things authentically real and organic. I felt like it wasn't script or anything because Anthony said what he said about Max. And of course, ever since MVP gave him that card, it was just like a shift over it. So I could tell that towards the end of the segment, Caster was definitely a little bit emotional after walking out on them, but I'm very proud of them no matter what happens because they are destined to be solo stars. And this is what makes them stand out is because having that versatility where they already created identities before they got together, it was really something that I enjoy with them because they're my clients. But like I said, tag teams break up, they split, they go on to do solo things. And also, I still love them no matter what. And deep down, they love each other. They love each other for life. They're definitely the best of friends and really want to see each other grow and succeed. Because I will say this, when that time comes, when they reunite, it's going to feel so solid and refreshed. And when they're on the same page, refreshed, reset, and everything to go, they'll show you why they're the winningest tag team in AEW. But let them enjoy their solo runs. And I'm very proud of them. But anyways, I don't want to keep anybody late because it is a little after 10:30 on the East Coast. But it's been a solid 8.5 out of 10. I definitely want to thank everybody on joining on this watch along of AEW Dynamite as they get ready, as I said, for Grand Slam Australia, their first pay-per-view of the year, Revolution, also getting ready for Dynasty in Philadelphia. I have to talk to Boss Lady about that if I can attend that in person. So it's going to be very, very fun. But I definitely want to give a shout out for everybody that's been chatting. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Boza, Lewis Johnson, Daniel Lucci, James Hayes II, our newest member, Dora, D the assistant for joining. Making sure I don't miss anybody. Eddie Foster, T. Harris, Aaron Teagle, Deadpool Party, Marcus M. Thank you all for joining on this wonderful watch along of AEW Dynamite and also on the post show as well. Make sure to follow me. Of course, I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on WWT Live. You can always follow me on @CourtneyNJ11 on Twitter and Instagram, where I recently posted about my adventures with Bell to Bell over the weekend, where I made my commentary debut. And also I have more content to come in the coming weeks, which is going to be super exciting for all of you. So I do have a lot of stuff planned. And also, other than me, feel free to jump in on the other watch-alongs as well. Of course, this Friday, we have Honey Night SmackDown. Also, we have Honey Night SmackDown. We have Monday Night Mare. Tuesday night Pharaoh with NXT. So feel free to jump on the watch-alongs, comment, like, and subscribe on everything else. But I am signing off as your WWT PR princess. Everything you need to know about all things elite. So make sure to stay safe. Stay warm if you live in the East Coast, since it's going to be cold and snowing the next couple days. Definitely sending love to everybody in California in regards to what's happening in the LA fires last couple weeks. So stay safe, be safe, and have a wonderful week. And I will see you next week. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at wwtalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at wwtalkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.